Hello everyone and welcome to Friday. Today started off with a trip to FedEx because Mal is getting ready to mail out the lunar, well, it's lunar mirror, isn't it?
Yes. Lunar and moon are the same word.
I know the names of Mallory's paintings. So we needed to go to FedEx to pick up some boxes because we didn't bring any boxes with us. We had used them all up before we left.
There's one in Myrtle Beach.
There is?
There is. It's with John. Standee John.
Cardboard John. So we went to a FedEx and picked up some boxes so Mal can ship out Elden Ring to the winner. The auction's actually not over yet, so I don't know who that's going to yet. While we were out, we decided to get some lunch, and we picked a place called Corbett's Burgers and Soda Bar. And it is a soda bar. They have a bunch of...
Over 250, I think.
Different
or
sodas.
Over 150. It was on the back of someone's shirt.
There's just all sorts of sodas up at the counter, and you can just pick.
Yeah.
You know, from this wide assortment, which is really cool. But also the burgers are really wild too. Mal had one that was made with a Cheerwine barbecue sauce, which sounded really good.
Cheerwine is like a cherry Dr. Pepper.
Oh yeah,
it's a North Carolina soda.
If you don't know what Cheerwine is, yeah, it's like cherry Coke Dr. Pepper.
It's good.
It's very good. Anytime I could ever get it on tap in South Carolina, I would get it, and I'm finding that it's a lot more common here. Who would have thought? So Mal's burger is really good. Mine, of course, I had to go with a breakfast burger. It had a fried egg, bacon, had this sauce on it, was really good, and a hash brown. And actually, it was only like $1 something more to like make it a double. And they're like, "Do you want to make it a double?" And I was thinking, probably not. And I'm so glad I didn't. That burger was gigantic.
It was.
It was super, super gigantic. It was really good, but really, really gigantic. So, place is it was really good food. It was kind of a novelty place. I would definitely bring some friends here when they're in town, just because it's it's a very unique experience. Agenda today is work for a little bit, and then we have a stream tonight, and I still don't know what we're doing. I should probably figure that out. That squirrel's bothering you, ain't he? Oh, he just jumped down. The thing is spinning. There's a bird over there. He bothering you? You can't get to that squirrel, can you? You can't get to that squirrel. All right, so it's a little bit later, and as far as I can tell, fingers crossed, I have things set up for the stream, and I gotta tell you, I hate this. I hate this. When I don't have things in like a permanent spot, it bothers me so much because I have to set all this stuff up, and this is not where it is going to stay. And in some cases, some of it's probably going to have to be torn down just because it's in our way, or because some of it will, you know, maybe have to move. And there are not enough words for me to illustrate how much it bothers me. I'll just say that. So here's the setup. I got some lights up. These are the actual lights. We have several different lights that we own, and these are the actual lights that we use for gaming streams. So these are the same ones. I have the FX3 set up instead of the Blackmagic. Normally we use the Blackmagic upstairs at the old place. And I have that camera, but I'm just using the FX3 because it's a little more convenient at this point in time. We're going to be using labs again tonight because getting a C-stand set up here would be difficult. I got my Switch set up with Captain Toad Treasure Tracker. I asked Mal to look through the list of games for the Switch, and I said, you know, whatever you want to play, you know, we can play. And she said, I think I'd like to play Captain Toad. I said, okay. So it's a 2-player game. Sounds like it'd be a lot of fun. So we get that up on the TV, and then I have the monitor that we've had over here for a breakfast stream over here, so we can use it on this side. So again, this sort of thing bothers me a lot. Setting it up is, I mean, it's a little time consuming. It takes no less than half an hour to set like all of this stuff up. And some of it I could probably leave up, but some of it needs to come down because it's going to be in our way. And then some of it, you know, on Tuesday, when it's time for breakfast stream, we'll need some of it over here again. Like the computer is going to need to move. So like, I'm not thrilled. This is a good motivator though, because this is my motivation to be like, you know what? I really need to get the loft set up. If we're going to be doing gaming streams in the loft, if that's the plan, I need to get it set up. I need to start working at whatever I need to work at to get things ready so we can actually do them. By next week would be great. If that doesn't happen, then we'll be doing another one just downstairs like this, but that's what I would like. I'd like to go ahead and get it, you know, working. Now that it's all set up, I mean, it'll be fine for tonight. It's not a big deal. It's just I don't like the constant like set up, tear down, set up, tear down. That was actually one of the things that very slowly weared away at my soul for things like Morning Mario and Game Garage, and to an extent First 20 as well. Like I didn't have stuff set up permanently to like do these things, so I had to constantly, anytime I was going to record any of that stuff, run cables to like change my setup, and that is for the birds. I am very much over that, and one of the goals of this house is to be able to do projects and have enough equipment and the equipment set up permanently so I could just hit a button. That's the hope. It's going to take a little bit to get there, and I'm aware of that, but I'm hoping that, you know, if I want to do a certain project, then I don't have to be like, oh, well, I got to move this thing into this room and this thing. No. I don't want to do that. I want to have the stuff in the right room. If I have to have extra stuff to do it, then just have extra stuff, because the motivation to do something declines very quickly when you have to start factoring, oh, okay, this is going to take 30 minutes to set up. This is going to take 60 minutes to set up. Not to mention, like, it's going to take 30 minutes to set up, and then it's going to take 30 minutes to tear down and set back up to whatever it was doing before. No, I can't. I've done it for so many years, and I can't do it anymore.
Come down here and get this one. Get this one before it runs out. We can pluck those behind you.
I got it. I got 50 coins.
What's that?
I don't know how I check it. Oh. Well, we did it. We did the stream. Mm-hmm. And actually, Captain Toad was a very good choice, because the game, unbeknownst to us, because we haven't played it, is divided up into books. So we very casually played through book 1, and it was like the right amount of time. We did a lot of the chatting, and at some point we made dinner, which was a frozen lasagna, and we just kind of meandered, and we got through book 1, and it was fun. It's a fun game. Based on what the box says, there are 70 levels. And there's 18 in book 1, so I'm guessing there's like 4 books. Something like that. Yeah. I think there's also paid DLC too, because when we opened up the game for the first time, it was like, you can buy levels in the shop. So there must be other stuff. Anyway, that went well. I don't know that we will be playing this next week. But we won't know for a few days. We won't know for a while, and eventually we'll probably come back to it, so it's fine. So today is July 1st, which is the beginning of the month. So first, I'll say a thank you to our Patreon producers, whose names are scrolling along the screen. If you'd like to learn more about Patreon and how you can support myself and the perks that come along with that, that is patreon.com/StephenGeorge. Yep. Or supportsteven.com. I often forget that I have that domain, but both of those should work. There's also a link in the description of every vlog. The other thing about July 1st is that it is part 2 of 2022, because 6 months are now over. We are now into the second half. And I got to tell you, the first half has been stressful. There's been a lot of things in the first half that have been bad. I mean, certainly on like a global or a national scale, but even just within like my life, it's been really rough. This year started with my second TGA episode, and jumping into all of the tests to learn that I was fine, and it happens sometimes. And then diving into the medical stuff with my abdomen to learn that I was fine, and it happens sometimes.
And then your chest.
And then my chest, which, is not fine and I'm still dealing with, but if I'm careful with it, it should hopefully go back to normal. And then the move.
Yeah.
Which we are still going through.
Yeah.
And will be for some time. And I think the realization hit me today that, like, we're going to be living out of boxes for a month. There are things that are in a box that you're like, oh, crap, now I need this thing. And then you have to go dig and you have to find it.
And then some boxes are half put away and not, and some aren't just totally sealed.
And it's hard, too, because, like, in an ideal world, you would just deal with all of it nonstop and go for it. But there's not enough time to do that because there's work to be done. So we have to balance unpacking and work. So you just have this really awkward situation where you're like, well, I'll do what I can. And then suddenly I need this thing and it's in a box and I don't know which box. And you're almost forced to unpack at that point because then you're digging through stuff. It's not ideal, but it's fine. I think one of the harder parts is that there's a few things from the past, from our entire time together, actually, that we've accumulated that have always really needed to be like organized, and we never have. So a really good example of this is I have a box of cables. And I've never dealt with like sorting and organizing and getting rid of cables. And I really need to do that badly because I have that box. And when we lived at our last place, I exceeded the capacity of that box. And there were cables just kind of everywhere.
Yeah.
And when it was time to move, I was like, oh, I'll just put them all in the cable box. And the cable box was full. There was no room to put anything in there. So I had several other boxes of cables. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to move. But once I get to Raleigh, I really should like sit down and go through these cables and decide what I really need and what I don't. Because there's plenty of stuff that I don't. I also have like 100 HDMI cables. 80 of which are 6 feet long, because every time you buy anything, they give you an HDMI cable.
Yep.
And I have them all. And I really don't need them all. Anyway. Good stream. Dinner was even pretty good.
It was okay. For
being a frozen lasagna, it wasn't all that bad.
Yeah.
It's not as good as the stuff we cook ourselves at home, but it was still pretty good. It wasn't too bad.
No, it just made me want a better lasagna.
I can agree with that. I'm going to go ahead and end the stream here. I don't know what's coming up. I just know that we have work to do and we have unpacking to do, and there will be other fun or difficult things sprinkled in between, and we will just try and handle things as we can on a day-to-day basis. And somehow, hopefully, by the end of July, this place will be mostly put away.
I hope so.
That's my hope. I'm giving myself a month, which is a long time, and also it'll go fast. But my hope is that in a month, everything has a spot. I've maybe organized some of the stuff that I've wanted to organize. We have the networking stuff set up. We have the streaming stuff all where it needs to be.
Maybe we'll have art up.
Maybe.
That's
a big ask, but maybe. Yeah. And we still have stuff in Myrtle Beach we have to move. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Thanks for watching. Let's meet back tomorrow, shall we?